Thanks for joining us here at noon. I'm Drew Carney. Our top story this afternoon is the ongoing search for a father of four who went missing in Cowlitz County last week. His family is here from California now to look for him, along with police, after he disappeared during a work-related trip to Kelso. His family also says a bizarre phone call in the middle of the night tipped them off that something was wrong. Investigators say last Thursday, sometime around 2:30 in the morning, security cameras caught Sean Riley leaving the Comfort Inn and Suites near Kelso's Three Rivers Mall. Police say it looked like he was in extreme distress at the time. And that's also about the time his wife says she got a strange call from his cell phone.
I felt like it was in his pocket. It was a lot of rambling for like 3 minutes. I hung up and called back, calling his name out, and I hear, "Go this way, go this way." So I assumed something happened. I called the hotel. "Can you go do a wellness check on my husband?" 3 in the morning. They said his room was unlocked and he's not in there.
Riley was last seen wearing a white t-shirt, dark shorts, and a black headscarf with his hair in braids. If you see him, call 911. We're also following this developing story from Florida this afternoon. At least 8 people have died and another 45 were sent to the hospital after a bus carrying dozens of farm workers collided with a pickup truck. It happened this morning in the central part of the state. Authorities say after colliding with the truck, the bus went off the road, through a fence, then struck a tree before it overturned. At least 8 of the injured passengers are listed in critical condition. Back to our local headlines this afternoon. The search continues for a man who's accused of walking into a Vancouver couple's home, robbing them at gunpoint, and then taking off in their car. As KGW's Catherine Cook reports, the homeowners are crediting one of their dogs for allowing them to escape this situation without getting hurt.
You might say little Ruby here is sniffing around for clues after what her owners, Doug and Teresa Wyckoff, went through.
Somebody just walked in the back slider through my backyard, opened a gate, and he just put his gun up right there and pointed at me and said, "I will shoot you," and then he just kept moving.
It was just after 5:30 Saturday morning. The Wyckoffs were at their home near Northeast 162nd Avenue and 20th Street in Vancouver. Not to lay blame, but the whole thing actually started with Ruby.
Because she's so little, she has to get up early, go potty.
It was a nice morning, so they left the back sliding door open for a few minutes. Then suddenly the intruder walked in.
As he walked through, he got behind the wall and he pointed his gun at me and said, "I will shoot you," and then just kept walking.
That's when the guy met the Wyckoff's other dog, Ginger.
She's our hero. She saved our lives. When she saw him, she jumped up and she just went for it and barked at him in a way that I hadn't heard before. I got up thinking it was a delivery guy.
She's like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Get back in the bedroom. There's a man in the house with a gun. Put the dogs in there with you." And then I said, "Call 911.
Within 3 minutes, the Wyckoffs say Vancouver police and Clark County Sheriff's deputies were there. But the crook was gone. Teresa says he'd taken her purse, car keys, and drove off in the couple's Honda CR-V. Police chased after him but stopped pursuit near the Vancouver Mall when deputies say the car was out of sight. That night, police recovered the car, ditched in Longview. Teresa found the car's location after calling the dealership she'd bought it from.
And they said that they sold me an extra service to track it, which I don't remember, but I'm glad I did the upsell. And yeah, they tracked it within 30 seconds.
Police say the guy who stole it is still out there. The Wyckoffs hope that changes soon.
It would be nice to have some sort of justice, not for our stuff, but the fact that I don't want anyone else to feel like that.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Just a few hours ago, we learned more about the extent of the damage that protesters caused at Portland State University's Millar Library. The university says it will cost roughly $750,000 to make the necessary repairs, which doesn't include replacing any damaged technology or furniture. The library was occupied and vandalized by protesters 2 weeks ago. Portland State says it is making an insurance claim to help with the cost. All right, a break from our news headlines for just a minute to talk about today's weather. Pretty much a fantastic live look at downtown Portland from our Rose City Skycam. Beautiful afternoon here, Rod. So where do we go from here?
Yeah, well, we're on track to be a little bit warmer than yesterday. As you just saw, it's sunny over Portland. High pressure ridge offshore. No precip until you get over into Idaho, Wyoming, and Montana. And all of our live cameras showing some sunshine here in our local area. Here's Cannon Beach, where it was cloudy through about 7:30 or so this morning, and then it started to clear, and that's the way I think it's going to stay for the remainder of today. 63 out along the coast. A little bit of haze looking down across the Cascades. This is one of our timberline cameras. That's Mount Jefferson right there looking to the south. And here's that Portland view. Our temperature at noon setting at 67 degrees. Now, yesterday was 74. I still think we're going to be at least a little bit warmer, and we could go as warm as 78. I have a 73 at 8 o'clock. So every now and then, a forecaster nearly completely changes the 7-day forecast. And that's what I've done this morning, meaning what I'm going to show you coming up in about 5 minutes is a lot different from what I showed you at sunrise this morning. Good, bad, in the middle? I'll show you the details coming up.
All right, look forward to that, Rod, for sure here in a few minutes. Back to local headlines now. After 16 months of negotiations, nurses with Peace Health voted in favor of ratifying a new contract. The nurses went on strike earlier this year. We actually shot this video back in January. The new contract covers nurses who work for Sacred Heart Home Care Services and hospice and home visit nurses. It includes a 16% raise over 4 years and a one-time bonus for nurses who stick around through next year. More Narcan vending machines are coming to Clark County. The Southwest Washington Accountable Community of Health, also known as SWACH, is getting $50,000 to help with this effort. SWACH unveiled the first of these vending machines in the public lobby of the Clark County Jail 2 months ago. There's a similar Narcan vending machine at the Clackamas County Jail. These machines provide free doses of Narcan to help prevent opioid overdoses. Our next story is a follow-up to a KGW series called Tainted Waters that looked into water pollution that's affecting people's health in Eastern Oregon. Much of that pollution comes from fertilizer on farms. KGW's Pat Doris sat down with the head of Oregon's Agriculture Department to ask why the state hasn't been able to find a solution.
So all of the Lubguama plans so far have called for voluntary steps. Voluntary, voluntary, voluntary. Hasn't worked, hasn't worked, hasn't worked. Do you favor mandatory steps next?
So I think I would bring you back to the Agricultural Water Quality Program.
Kind of looking for a yes or no?
This is going to take a combination of actions to move it forward because of the diversity that's in the region.
So some mandatory, some voluntary?
Currently today, there is a requirement that is the basis of our Agricultural Water Quality Program that says agricultural activities can't pollute the water, groundwater or surface water or rivers and streams. Traditionally, we've focused on the surface water piece. This is the first time that we've had a strong focus on the groundwater, and so we really are learning from the work that we're doing with this assessment and building the foundation for that. I think, all options are on the table as we look at what we do going forward, and any combination of regulation and incentive based, it's going to be tricky to figure out what's going to work so we can support not only cleaning up the environment, but also the socioeconomic basis of that community. Agriculture is the backbone of the community. It's what's grown that community in that region. Food processing is important in the region. And so we need to find that sustainability stool going forward.
There is much more to Pat's interview with the state's agriculture director. You can find it in the story section of our KGW YouTube page. And of course, you can also catch the story live every weeknight at 6:30 only here on KGW.